Oh, hello. I'm finally on. I had real difficulty getting on live today. Facebook didn't seem to want to video me. Anyway, I'm here now, and so I'm sorry if anybody has come and gone, but it was just, I was here at 1 and I've been spending all this time trying to get on. So just to let you know, this is a new format for Wisdom Hour that I'm doing. It will be done from Tuesday to Fridays at 1 o'clock, or as near as I can manage it. And I will be addressing one question per day. Now, obviously, if I start getting overloaded with questions, I might go to 2 a day or something like that. But they're not going to be the 1 hour sessions that I used to do on Friday. I'm just going to try and do one question and then put it up onto my website. Okay, and you'll be able to find it there under the question that you've asked. Right, so the question today, actually it's a bit dark. It's gone a bit dark in here all of a sudden. The light has just sort of gone out of the room. Don't know if that makes any difference, but anyway, never mind. And I said I'd let people to know what questions I would be doing this week. So today, the first one is about my greatest fear is of my child dying before me. How can I get over this constant fear? That's the one we're going to be doing today. Then tomorrow, on Wednesday, my father doesn't seem to care about me and I can't forgive him for that. How can I forgive him? On Thursday, I've known my friend for 10 years. Whenever we're together, I feel as though her energy is negative towards me. She doesn't say anything negative to me, but I feel like her negative energy is directed at me. Is this actually what's happening? Okay. And then on Friday, how can I renew my zest for life and enjoy my surroundings more? Is there a weekly outing or activity that would lift my mood? So she's sounding like she's getting a bit kind of bored and, fed up with where she is, that kind of thing. Okay. So, and I have another one there that at this stage will probably go over to Tuesday next week. All right. So the one today, an interesting question. My greatest fear is of my child dying before me. I'm just going to move this a little, guys. My child dying before me. How can I get over this constant fear? Now, I muscle tested a goal for this answer, and it is to make peace with my childhood and everyone in it. So that's kind of curious, isn't it? That it would come up like that. I think I'm just going to turn some lights on. I'm just feeling this is very dark looking in here. There we go. Right. Is that better? I hope it is. Not much. Well, never mind. Okay, so moving along. Right, to make peace with my childhood and everyone in it. This positive, active, clear, energetic. Just happy for me to come into your field. Give me a yes, give me a no. Okay, so I want to work with them. Tap in touch with health. Let's smell, front or back, me or her. She wants to smell something behind her, something on the wall, on the furniture. Smell the furniture behind you. Smell the furniture behind you and know that this smell is representing a time in your life when you wouldn't know why you were being treated so unfairly. This was when you were very young and you were about 7 years old and you didn't feel that you were valued and you didn't feel loved and you didn't You didn't place yourself in the center of your world because of this. You were always trying to please others, and this made you unable to please yourself through play or the things that children normally please themselves with. This personal experience of your childhood wouldn't set you up to be a happy teenager or adult, and it is because this is what this practical understanding here for you. Because this time of your life was never resolved, or you never had anybody to help you through it and get you to understand why things were this way and why you couldn't really please others because they had their own problems that couldn't be known by a child your age or understood. Because you didn't have any of this support, you were experiencing being a girl who wasn't loved and a girl who wasn't valued, and because you were only a little girl, you wouldn't understand that this had nothing to do with you, but you were experiencing it as everything to do with you. This means that you took on board these feelings as your fault and did what children do, that is, they feel that everything is because of them and not because of someone else's dysfunction or difficulties or challenges or stress. When a very good parent is able to notice a child is struggling, they will explain in child-friendly terms how things are affecting the child and let them know clearly that it is not their fault and that maybe mum or dad is having a hard time at the moment and so is not as able to be there for them as they'd like. But this has nothing to do with the child's value or what the child has done. And to reassure the child that her mother and father do love her deep down, but they aren't able to show it much at the moment. Because you didn't get any of this parenting to help you through this difficult period, you came through with a sense of great longing for an experience of love between a parent and a child. And when you experienced this great love with your own child, all of your suppressed fears about yourself and how you sometimes felt that you wouldn't be able to survive all of this sadness and loneliness, you are now expressing this in a way that doesn't appear to be anything about your own self, but in fact it is. It is your own self and the child part of you which gets very fearful that you, not your child, might die of this lack of love. Of course, the child doesn't use those words because they don't know what they are feeling. All they know is that they feel lonely and upset and generally bad. So these feelings which you don't understand come up and they give you a sense of great fear, and deep down you know it is about a child, but because you don't know it's about your inner child, you project these fears about your own child. You worry constantly that she may get ill or have an accident or something will happen that will take her from you, and you will lose this beautiful love you have between you. This, of course, can happen to any child at any time, and let's be truthful, it is a most terrible loss. But this doesn't mean that this is going to happen to your child. And in fact, because you are so security conscious with her, she has much less chance of anything bad happening to her. So you are doing a good job in that respect, but this fear that you are projecting out and onto her won't help her as she grows up, and certainly isn't helping you, because you experience your great love entwined with this great fear. And that doesn't place your child in a carefree energy, which she needs to grow and play and enjoy being a child. You don't want her to experience what you did, of course, and you won't cause this in any way by placing your inner child in your great love as well. And just like with your own child, noticing how she is feeling and what she needs. You can do this at night before you sleep, and notice what comes up, and in your mind give her all of the support and love and wonderful understanding that you give your own child. Help her, this is your inner child, help her to understand that her parents wouldn't know that she was suffering so much, and if they did, they would have done something about it. But also explain that she is extremely valued and loved by you, and that you won't abandon her and let her feel lost and lonely anymore. When you re-engage with your inner child, you get your enthusiasm back and all of the wonderful energy that a young child has when she is not burdened by these feelings of loneliness or lack of value. So do this work every night before you sleep for 8 weeks and create a relationship with this part of yourself so that you can integrate this part of yourself into your daily being. This means that while you are working with this part of yourself, we get you to imagine this 7-year-old part or the 7-year-old child in front of you, so you can have her to work with. But of course, she is a part of you, and all parts of us come with us into every area of our lives and into every future age. When we can resolve any great loss of self in the inner child, we become more whole and we are able to bring that part of ourselves into our consciousness. And from there, we can enjoy our child part in our daily lives by doing things like playing and enjoying the moment without having to prove anything or make anything that is particularly useful or please others. In this lovely free state of the child, your only job is to please yourself. And as we know, in doing so, the child brings huge pleasure to those around her. But the child must know how to please herself first. And when your inner child was going through this phase of her life, she didn't know how to do this because she was so wound up in trying to please others, to get noticed and to be given somewhat validation. This places her in the great loving arms of you when you do this exercise, and you become like her parent, and you help her through this developmental process, which was placed under a rock, to be found now, and you can get her to feel happy and whole and loved and valued. And when she is, you will start to feel much more worthy in your own life, and you will also stop worrying about your child so much. This is great work for you to do, because this part of your life needs healing, and until you do it, you will remain very worried about losing your own child. And this isn't a happy place for you, and this doesn't help your own child, because all children pick up any energy that is around them. Some children are particularly sensitive, and they pick up all energies and feel like they are their own feelings. because boundaries are not clear between the adult and the child. When you do this work at night, ask the little girl part of you how she would like to have some fun with you, and the next day give this part of yourself an opportunity to play in this way, either with your little girl or by doing something for yourself that addresses this core delight. So that could be anything from dancing to music to drawing or doodling or writing or colouring in or swimming or placing your own child in front of you and playing with dolls together and pretending they are different people, and anything at all that brings a smile to your face and gets you to relax and simply have fun. When we as adults leave our inner child behind, we become too serious and greatly placed in a world of great practical concerns that are important, but no more important than our need for enjoyment and fun and laughter and play. When we can bring this part of ourselves with us in a whole and pleasant way, we become more balanced as adults and understand the needs of our children even more. Question, a statement. You are getting worried about something that has a very tiny chance of ever happening. In all probability, you will die before your daughter, and this is statistically generally the way it works out. But if your child won't live longer than you, there really is not a lot you can do about that. it is up to you as a parent to nourish your child with healthy food and a positive environment, and get her to generate her own positive energy through play and great loving relationships, and to give her opportunities to learn and to stretch her boundaries and to test herself. But apart from all these things, no one knows how many breaths each person is given on this planet. This is a mystery and won't be known by anyone. When you worry about a loss of a child in the future, you don't influence anything, but you place her in a worried energy, and this is not good for her or you. So do your home play at night and really give that inner child of yours what she needs, so she doesn't feel like maybe death is easier than the suffering she is going through. That is a very sad thing to say, but you can heal her easily if you do this every night, and during the day allow her to play through you with your own child or through you in any way that pleases you. Okay, so that's what I've got there for you. Yeah, that must be just so hard. Worrying. You say a constant fear. I have come across this actually with a couple of women, and you know, it's a really tough one because it just is so hard on them, and so that's what it's come up as, you know, what's causing it in you anyway. And I guess, you know, the other side of it about knowing the statistics that, yeah, statistically, you know, there's a very, very, very tiny chance that she would possibly die before you. It is always a possibility with anyone. We never know. But that then comes back down to our beliefs about life and the mystery of life and what it's all about, and, you know, why and why a child might be taken early. This is a huge and very sensitive topic, I'm sure. Life is given and life is taken, and in each case there is change. The life that arrives comes from another place and time, and it doesn't turn up in the same form that it was previously, but it is still the same energy. And it is the same when someone passes from this earth. They will be placed in great love, the way your child was when she was born. So you can think of death like another birth into another realm. From this realm, great love surrounds anyone who passes, and general religious beliefs about hell and purgatory and so on are in fact not true. However, when we leave our bodies, there is a time of remembering, and in this remembering we practice self-judgment, and when we do this, we can either create suffering for ourselves or a great sense of self-acceptance and love. If we have learned this self-acceptance and great love of ourselves while we are alive, and have forgiven ourselves for things in the past, we will not go through this process of self-critique. Instead, we will what? We will, I don't know, we will, what is it? We will behave. Instead, we will present our life to our Great Spirit that is the greatest version of ourselves, and feel true gratitude for any experience we went through while on earth. When we can be at peace with ourselves before death, then our journey from death onwards is also peaceful, and we get to choose how we get to present our energy in a future life or other spiritual realm. So there is really nothing to worry about, except that, of course, when we are parted in a physical way from someone we love, there is a great longing and sadness for the loss of such great love and presence of them in their material body. However, the nature of spiritual life is that a loved one can be in many places at any one moment, and you can call on them, and you can talk to them, and you can get comfort from them. Don't ignore signs from loved ones that have passed. Don't say, "Oh, that's my mind playing tricks on me." It usually is a sign. And these signs can be very comforting to know that even though they are not here in material form anymore, their energy is just as strong, in fact is more pervasive, because they are now possible great conduits for spiritual love, and don't have the material constraints of a body while in this form. Your love for your child and anyone who is watching, your love for your child will never be broken and will always be available to you. This is the wondrous mystery of life. And we don't need to worry so much about death, but realize that any death will bring a period of mourning and grief, because we naturally mourn and grieve for that which is lost. But remember also what is not lost, and this can bring you great comfort and gets you to think about your life in a much easier and positive way than if you think or believe that once the body is gone, it is over. It is far from over, and for that person it is a new beginning and a new birth into some level of great love and great mystery. So, there we are. Oh my goodness, I did one question and it's taken me nearly an hour. So it really is wisdom hour. Okay, guys, listen, I hope that brings some comfort to anybody. I think it's interesting that it went on to talk about, when we do lose someone. So if you know someone who may have lost, somebody or a child or something like that, you might find that that could be comforting to them. Please share, if you think it would help anyone, of course, this is what it's about. And I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock, God willing, if Facebook decides it will let me in. By the hair of my chinny chin chin, if it'll let me in. I don't know what's going on. Facebook just seems to be doing this little whirly thing quite a lot with me. Last night I couldn't schedule any posts or anything, and so I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because I put a thing up about free Julian Assange. Maybe they don't like me anymore. Anyway, you never know what's operating, do we, behind these scenes. So I will do my best to be here at 1. If I'm not, you know that I'm not far away and you can watch it later. But it will. The only reason I won't be here is because Facebook won't let me on, or I'm just taking a few minutes to have to get my client on their way. All right, guys. So do send me some love. Do give me. Let people know that they can send in a question to bit.ly, wisdom hour, capital W, capital H, but one word, wisdom hour. And keep those questions coming, because I do believe they are sent to me so that we can help more than one person. Have a great day, everyone. Hope you all had a lovely Easter. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.